Here we go. So, welcome. This is the first time I'm trying something 30-minute lunch and learn workshops, just picking different topics. And I'm going to do this through December. And if I could get more people to come in and they really enjoy it, then I will continue it. And you know who I am.
I do.
I am a recently retired pediatrician, and I retired in August of this year at age 57. And for me, the big thing with retiring was just I had several episodes of burnout, exhaustion, compassion fatigue, whatever you want to call it. And mainly my stress centered around trying to do everything at the same time and do it perfectly and well and look like I was on top of everything. And having a busy career and 4 kids, my husband traveled a lot. And so I just felt like I was constantly on the go, constantly, always behind on something, to-do lists that never got checked off. And I just didn't feel like I was doing anything well. And I was kind of perpetually cranky. I seemed rushed all the time. I turned down things with friends because I'm so busy, so busy, so busy. And I didn't feel like I needed a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist. And what started to get me through this was just coaching myself through it. And I had actually Googled burnout in physicians, and a website came up for self-coaching. So I started doing some of that. And that really was a life changer for me. And I got certified to be a professional life coach in 2020, and because it helped me so much. And I really felt like if we taught this stuff to other high achieving women, even if we started teaching these skills to our kids early in life, just like reading and math and learning their colors, I think everybody would be so much healthier. And I originally started coaching women physicians on burnout, but then I realized most of the people that I informally coached in my practice were high functioning mothers, overachieving types. And I think that's why I clicked with a lot of my moms, So COVID pandemic for me was kind of a blessing in disguise, because it really forced me to recognize what was not essential in life. All this stuff that I felt like I had to do, well, the world pretty much stopped, and we didn't do any of that. And I was at a meeting about a year ago, and I just decided I'm going to retire in a year. And I went to work. I gave them my retirement date. I had no plan at all, but I knew I kind of had to follow through with it because I had set a goal. And I just, for me, felt like there was more, a whole nother chapter to my life I just haven't written yet. So today we're going to talk about the holidays, and I chose this topic because I used to always hate the holidays. And I felt bad because, who hates the holidays? And I just wasn't a fan of Christmas because of all the things I thought I had to get done as a mom, as a wife, as a mother who was so insanely busy all the time. And so what we're going to talk about today is why we get overwhelmed. And that's the feeling that I think resonates with me most. I just felt busy all the time, too much to do. And for me, a lot of it was because of procrastinating. And I realized that the holidays come the same time every year. And I don't know why I'm always surprised. Oh, this year went by so fast and I'm not ready for the holidays. Why do I put things off like that? And not just with the holidays, just life in general. A lot of perfectionism for me kept me from doing things. And I would compare myself to other women, other mothers, other doctors, wondering why I couldn't look like I had it all together. Actually, I think I looked like I had it all together, but inside I did not. And I think that as high achieving women, we want things to be done perfectly. We're not good at delegating, especially when it comes to things with our families. Like, I want to be the one to do it. And so perfectionism, which really helped me in my career for certain things, really ended up being a double-edged sword, because it it held me back with a lot of things. And the thought model, there's a lot of thoughts that we have in our mind that we really believe are the truth. And once I started understanding all of this, that it really, everything kind of gelled together for me. I really started paying, I'll talk about this later, but I started paying attention to the words I was using. Always, should, never, just a lot of generalizations. And that all kind of fueled the feeling of overwhelm for me.
Okay.
And so holiday, I actually looked up the word on what a holiday was, and it stands for holy day from the 950 AD word. And then it become, it's Old English word, synonymous with not just a religious celebration, but time off from work. And for me, the holidays are like October through New Year's were my most stressful time of the year. And this is what we typically think of with the holidays. And there's TV commercials, social media, Pinterest. And really, when I think of the holidays, I think of religious celebration, which for me ended up being kind of bottom of the list because of all the other stuff. And then I felt bad if we didn't make it to church or do something like that because of all these other activities. We think of families sitting around the table, all the kids are behaving and coloring their school and church Christmas plays and parties. And really, for me, I just think of Christmas. Well, this is what I would like to think of Christmas as being, and I assumed everybody else's Christmas was magical. There's gift giving and family traditions and all that really good food. And I think this is the in my mind, what I wanted my Christmas to look like. This is kind of what my Christmas looked like every year. Trying to get kids together for the Christmas picture to send out the Christmas cards. So they needed haircuts, they needed matching outfits. You have to mail these things, don't have stamps. And, right after Thanksgiving, you start getting Christmas cards from people who put these letters in there of how perfect their lives are, and their kids are all brilliant and they have well-behaved dogs, and where they live, the weather is perfect, and exciting hobbies. And, one year I didn't even send out Christmas cards, and really the world didn't end. The damn elf on the shelf that you have to keep hiding, never ending to-do lists. It just was page after page after page. Then neighbors having their lights up beginning of November, Christmas lights, and I don't even know where my Christmas lights are. Then, God forbid, luckily we didn't have to travel a lot, but travel, especially with busy airports, bad weather, COVID, having to pack for the whole family, and usually I ended up forgetting my own stuff. And the woman on the top, that's me. I really felt like I was just losing my mind at this time that is supposed to be most celebratory. And we'll talk a little bit about how I overcame this. So I think a lot of the reasons we think we get overwhelmed or believe we feel stressed is because of circumstances. Too much to do, not enough time, all of these extra commitments that we have that we normally don't have any other time of the year, and just really feel like we have to do them. And then jobs for some people are the busiest around the holidays: retail, post office, UPS, Amazon. So it's just a lot of stress piled on top. And then, there's always some kind of family drama with relatives. Whose house do we go visit? Just stuff. And a lot of TV movies have been made about Christmas that are very funny and very true. So when you feel stressed or overwhelmed, stress, for me, I would feel my heart kind of racing. I'd feel on edge, agitated, sometimes get a neck ache or a headache, just feeling restless all the time. And stress is really something that starts in the brain and sends signals to the rest of the body. And feelings are caused by what we think. They're not involuntary. So, once we start talking about we can control some of these things later, it really helps put things into perspective. And so for me around the holidays, I put a Grinch there, or whenever I'm stressed, I'm angry, I'm short with others, I'm not very patient with my kids. Sometimes I was good at playing the victim or the martyr. Oh, so much going on. I have so many things to mail and work is so busy, or blaming others or other things. And I would worry about stuff not getting done. I was worrying so much that I procrastinated on getting stuff done because I wanted things to be perfect. And then I'll talk a little bit about buffering. And the thing to remember is that, we're never taught how to feel our emotions as little kids. We're taught to escape them, brush it off, suck it up. And feelings themselves are harmless. They're not going to really cause any long-standing thing. It's what we do with feelings that make the difference for us. And so often when we're feeling uncomfortable emotions, stress or anger or apathy, it causes us to either resist, which doesn't feel good in your body. Instead of opening the door to feeling the emotion, we just shut it, or we're reactionary, yelling, crying. And this feels like it's productive because you're releasing something, but you're not processing the feeling. And that, that the thing that originally caused you to feel that way is always going to be there. It doesn't change. Or sometimes we avoid it altogether by overeating, overdrinking, working, overworking. And so what you want to start looking at is, what do you do or not do when you feel this way? And a lot of this sounded very woo-woo to me. I'm not originally one of those people that, is a meditator and that kind of thing. I'm very cut and dry, but this really just made a big difference. And so for me, when I think of the holidays, I really wanted them to feel relaxed and fun and connected. And so in my mind, I think, well, what thoughts do I need to have to get to these feelings? And so, the thing to remember about circumstances, it's not Christmas itself that's stressing me out. It's the thoughts I have about Christmas. And I've held these thoughts so long that I believe them. And it's almost like they're fact in my mind. I'm always behind at Christmas. I'm always running Christmas Eve to Walgreens to get batteries, just doing all of this last minute stuff that I really believed was never going to be changeable for me. And so when we talk about all of this sounds great. Like, how do you make this happen? And the biggest thing for me was being self-aware of the thoughts I was having. Really just pretending I'm stepping outside of my brain, watching me have these thoughts and be curious, like, I wonder why I'm feeling this way. Some mornings you can wake up in a bad mood. Like, where does that even come from? And the biggest thing for me is to not judge myself or talk negatively. I didn't realize how many negative thoughts I had in my brain talking all the time, like in my voice. And so another thing that helped me is thinking about your primitive brain, that the oldest part of your brain that's the least developed. And the role of this brain goes back to being cavemen. Primitive brain wants you to be safe, alive, and lazy. And so you're wired for the familiar, helps us stay into old bad habits, wants us to crawl back into our cave and stay safe. And so a lot of times when it comes to doing something uncomfortable, making a change, doing something new, we can totally come up with excuses to talk ourselves out of it. And this is how I've always been, so I'm just going to crawl back in my cage. And then thoughts are optional. That is just mind-blowing for me, that thoughts are optional. And so the life coach school that I went to was run by a woman called Brooke Castillo, and it's based a lot of it in cognitive behavioral therapy. And there's something called the thought model about circumstances, thoughts, feelings, actions, and results. And I'm going to go through that in pieces with examples. So a circumstance is a fact that can be proven in a court of law. So Christmas is December 25th. We know that. A thought is a sentence in my mind that I think of when I think of Christmas, December 25th. And I have too much to do. And the feeling that I get, you want to kind of use one word. How do you feel? And for me, it's overwhelmed. and then your action. What do you do or not do when you're overwhelmed or whatever feeling you're having? So when I'm overwhelmed, I'll go watch The Crown on Netflix for hours and complain about I never have time to do anything. And then the result is nothing gets done because I spent hours watching Netflix and I still have so much to do. And I'm still in my mind spinning. Yeah, here you go again. You're proving yourself as a loser because Christmas isn't going to happen like you want it to. And then let me go back to that one. So that's called an unintentional model. This is what you just kind of happens. And so if you want to start being more intentional about things, I could change it to Christmas, December 25th. It's still there. And for me, and you can jump around in the model. And so my feeling, I want to feel motivated. I don't want to feel overwhelmed. And so what thought do I have to feel motivated? I got this. And then what do I do? What's my action? Well, when I'm feeling in my head, I got this, and feel motivated, instead of acting, the never ending to-do list, okay, gifts are going to get mailed lunchtime on Tuesday. That's when it's going to happen. And I honor those commitments like I would to a doctor or my hairdresser or whatever. We often cancel appointments with ourselves all the time. And so I just put these on the calendar like this is going to happen that day. And so the result is I really do have this stuff got mailed. And so it's, the more and we'll talk about practicing this, it's really a way to be watching your mind. And so when I think of, emotions and feelings, same thing, like when I need to get something done or feel better, like things I think of, I want to feel determined. I want to feel confident, enthusiastic, unburdened, or just calm. And then, what thoughts do I have to believe that? And it may not happen overnight. But, I always think I can do hard things. I've done harder things than get through Christmas for sure. Another one I like to use is I'm one step closer today. And instead of I don't have enough time, I've got the right amount of time to get things done. And I'm farther along than I was yesterday. And so you really want to start believing these. It's not like you just put this down and then the next day all is wonderful. Doesn't happen that quickly. And let's see. Okay, here. And so when we think about what prevents us or a few things that keep us from getting to where we want to get, and it's not just Christmas, it's life in general. Procrastination, perfectionism, comparison, buffering, or just staying confused. And I'll talk about those separately. Procrastination is just the act of delaying or postponing something. It's a great way to never reach your goals. And, I used to say, I work best under pressure. That's a lie to ourselves. It's because I put it off so long and I've got to get it done at the last minute. And if I did reverse procrastination and tried to get it done at the beginning, then I wouldn't be so stressed at the very end. Poor time management. A lot of times I don't put what really needs to be done at the top of my list. I do things that I want to do. I like to declutter and go through things when I really have stuff to do. Well, I can't put up the Christmas tree until I clean the garage out. Stuff like that. Or sometimes searching for the right gift, the gift that has to be perfect. Perfectionism, a big one for a lot of us. And the big one to me is, what will others think of me if I don't do this right, perfectly, beautiful, just like Pinterest? And actually, I realized people are too busy thinking about themselves to waste a lot of time thinking about me. And so I just really, it's not that I don't care what others think, but I kind of don't care what others think about certain things because I waste too much time worrying about it when really nobody cares about, if the Christmas cookies are homemade or store-bought. And for me, it would cause me to procrastinate because I think I need more time to get it finished. And then in my head, it's the whole negative Nancy self-talk, fretting about things not getting done. I'm not good enough to get it perfectly done the first time. And one thing that it really helped me with my practice is I don't need to get an A+ on everything. So which is hard for us because we're A+ kind of people, but I used to go back and correct my dictations, the punctuation in it, and really, and then wondering why I'm always charting. And so at the end of the day, as long as I'm perfect when it comes to drug dosages and things like that, people are not going to care when they read my note that I used a semicolon instead of a colon. And let's see, comparison, a big one. She makes it look so easy. Why can't I? And so then I just don't even try. I can remember a mom making a goodie bag for one of the kids. It was Thanksgiving, and she made goodie bags and table decorations and stuff. And I was just like, I was so depressed over that, going, I can't even make homemade cookies. Well, that's a thought, but it just seemed like, why even compete when that's what's going on? Buffering is a word for avoiding doing the hard work or feeling the feelings. And so overeating, over drinking, overworking, overspending, over scrolling. I did a little exercise where it said, because I always felt like I didn't have enough time, talk about what you've done in the last 24 hours. And there were not many things I could really remember because a lot of it was just nothing, scrolling through Facebook, decluttering, over Netflixing. And I'm a big one on over researching things till I feel ready to do it. Or I am the master of planners. I look for the best planner ever that can help me get more organized and stuff like that. So I'm doing all of this under the guise of it's helping me, but nothing's getting done. Or spinning in confusion. I don't even know where to begin. I don't know how to figure this out. And so I don't do it. And so the reason I'm doing these kind of things is because I have a fear of technology. So I haven't done anything with my business because, I can't figure out Zoom. I can't figure out Facebook. I can't figure out that kind of stuff. And so I made a commitment to do these, even though I didn't really want them want to do it. And if nobody showed up today, I was still going to do it, and I'm going to post it to YouTube. So how this connects with the holidays and everything else is just really learning how your mind works and how your mind plays tricks and how you talk negatively to yourself is the key to figuring this out. And, we have to figure out how to get from where we are to where we want to go. It just doesn't happen overnight. And so one thing that's helpful to me is to think, I change my thought from I'm overwhelmed to I'm becoming a person who gets things done. Or I'm becoming a person who doesn't let all of this get to me. Or I'm becoming a person who's learning how to say no to things. And when I say no to things, I don't apologize. I don't give an excuse. I say thank you, but no. And in the morning, I sit down with my cup of coffee and I just write down everything that's on my mind. Just free spirit, got to get the oil change. This has to be done. This has to be done. And it's almost like once I write it down, and I'm not a writing type person, once I get it out of my head, it kind of frees my head up a little bit to really kind of organize what needs to be done. And then constant reminders to myself on sticky notepads or whatever, write it down and say it. I'm a person who gets things done. I'm a person who can sail through this. And it's not that all of life is going to be, rainbows and daisies. Life is 50-50. Part of life is going to suck and part of life is going to be great. And that's what makes life. That's what makes things enjoyable. But I think that so many people, women that have coached, lots of things that they carry through that may have been implanted in their head from childhood or from their parents or whatever, we just really start to believe as the reason for our unhappiness, and or the reason for our disorganization. Or if you have people that are constantly late all the time and they're always late, well, they continue to prove to themselves they're always late. So you're reinforcing that negative thought. So why bother being early? And so anytime you want to make a change, it's going to be uncomfortable. And that's why most of us just kind of stay back in the cage. And so for me, Christmas decorations, nothing is up. And that it will get up. Like, who's going to judge me that I don't have anything up right now? And I feel sorry for them if they do. And so really thinking that way about not just Christmas, but anything in your life, your day, with your kids. For me, with my kids, I was worried that I didn't want them to think of holiday season as mom being cranky the whole time. Rush, 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 you know? And so really working on figuring out what is in my mind. I guess I didn't realize how much worry was filling, and worry is just a useless emotion. I mean, there's nothing positive about worrying, but instead of, distracting myself with something else, just really sitting down and thinking, why is it that I'm worried? What is the worst thing? Because most of the time we worry about things that have already happened or things that haven't happened and probably won't happen. And we're missing out on what's happening on every single day. So that is that. And so what I'm doing now is I'm life coaching professional women, high achieving women, overachievers, because for me, the working on the whole thought stuff was so important. I was just at a point where I wasn't happy in so many different areas of my life, and I couldn't figure it out, but I didn't feel like I had to go see a doctor for it. And sometimes when you talk to your friends, they tell you what you want to hear, what you need to hear. But sometimes you just need somebody who can listen to the story, help you tease out the facts, figure out what it is that is keeping you from becoming whatever it is, because I just did not feel joyful. And then I really just, it carried over into everything. So that is my deal about the holidays. And, it just is once this starts, and like I said, this took me years. Not everything takes years. Sometimes I can help people solve one or two problems pretty quickly. But like, I'm teaching my children this, that people are allowed to behave however they want to behave, even if we don't think it's right or wrong. And so just seeing so many people getting worked up over Facebook posts and stuff like that. It's like, people are allowed to post whatever they want to post, whether it's right or wrong. And if it's bothering you that much, delete the app, get off the app. I think, life is too short to spend so much of it ruminating over things. I feel like we're really missing out on the miracle of every day and waking up when we're just bogged down with everything. And so I got good at saying no to things. I don't feel like I have to go to every single Christmas party or every single event. And nobody cares. They're going to say, we missed you. But if they're continuing to talk about us not being at the Christmas party, I feel sorry for them, So I think having more compassion for myself and just more compassion for others, because you just don't know what anybody else is going through, So